Hi guys, welcome to another Yarn Scrap Friday, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a holly leaf and some little red berries. Okay, so we're going to be using some red yarn and some green yarn obviously, and this is just a DK light worsted weight yarn weight of 3, but you can use any yarn that you like. And we're going to be using a 3.5mm crochet hook to go with this yarn, but you can use any hook that you like that is suitable for the yarn you're using. And it's also a good idea to have a pair of scissors and a yarn needle as well. That's a needle with a big eye at the end for threading in the yarn. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our green yarn to begin, and we're going to chain 12 to begin. So we'll chain 12. Okay, so do our little slip knot and then chain 12. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. So we chained 12. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do one single crochet in our second stitch from hook. Now our second stitch from hook, we don't count the loop on our hook. There's our first stitch and there's our second stitch. And we're going to put our hook into there and do a single crochet. This is US terminology, but when we put our hook in, what we need to do is we need to just go underneath that one bit of yarn in that chain. And the reason for that is because we're going to work back into these chains again, and we want to be able to see them. So this is a good way of making sure you can see them again. So when you go in it for the first time this side, just go underneath that one bit of yarn and then do your single crochet. Okay, one single crochet in there, second stitch from hook, and then in the next stitch we're going to do a half double crochet. Okay, so in the next chain we're going to do a half double crochet. Again, just going under that one bit of yarn, and then we're going to do one double crochet in the next 7 stitches. So in the next 7, one double crochet in the next 7. So there's one double crochet in the next stitch, 1, next chain 2, next chain 3, next chain 4, next chain 5, next chain 6, and the next chain 7. Okay, so just catching that little bit, one bit of yarn each time. Okay, and then what we're going to do is we're going to do a half double crochet in the next stitch. So in the next chain do one half double crochet for all 3, and then we're going to finish up with one single crochet in that last chain. So you should have one left, and in there we're just going to do a single crochet. Okay, so you should have something that looks a little bit like that at the moment. And then what we're going to do is we're going to work back into those chains again. So we're going to literally just turn our work clockwise and crochet back in to the other side. And I do this technique a lot for my booties. And because you've only just, when you worked into these chains the first time, you only caught the top bits, it enables you to see the stitch a bit easier when working back into it this side. Look, you can see the stitches a bit easier. So what we're going to do is, what are we going to do? We're going to start off with one single crochet in that first chain, which is effectively the last chain that you just worked into. So go back into that last chain again and do another single crochet. So technically you end up with 2 in there, 2 single crochet in that last one, but that also counts as your first one on going back in the opposite direction. And then we're going to just mirror the other side. So we're going to do a half double crochet in the next chain, and hopefully you've kept it, you've only just worked into the top part, enabling you to see that next stitch. So there's the first one, or the last one, and the next one along, just want to pop your hook into there. And I have done a video in more detail of working into your foundation chains again, so if you want to go check that out, I'll put a link in the description to that video in case you're new to this technique. Then we're going to, like I say, mirror the other side and do 1 double crochet in the next 7 again. So yarn over, go into that next chain, foundation chain again, and do a double crochet. We need to do 1 double crochet in the next 7, so that's 1, 2. As you can see, I'm just working the tail. Let's get some more yarn. As you can see, I'm just working the tail end here into it as well. I'm just holding that into place and working the stitches around that. You don't have to do that though, you can just move that out of the way. So how many have we done? I've lost count already. 2. Next one. 3. Next one, 4. Next one, 5. Next one, 6. The next one, last one, 7. So 1 double crochet in the next 7. And as you can see, you're just basically working into those chains twice, once along this direction and then once along back on the other side. And then we're going to finish up with 1 half double crochet in that second to last one. So just mirroring the opposite side, half double crochet, and that's right, we're just going to do a single crochet in that very last one in there. You can find it. There we are. Tail end getting in the way, so a single crochet in that last one. Okay, and there you've got a very simple leaf shape, so you could effectively stop there and have a really nice leaf. But we're going to carry on and turn this into a holly leaf. So by the end of the first row and the second row, you should have 22 total stitches all the way around. So you should have 22 all the way around. Now we're going to be working in the round. Okay, so moving on to the next step, we're going to do a slip stitch in the next stitch. So in this next stitch here, we're going to do a slip stitch in there. So just do a slip stitch in there, and we're going to do a slip stitch in that next stitch as well. Just working in the round, just going around in a circle now. So 1 slip stitch in the next 2 stitches, and then we're going to chain 4. So 1, 2, 3 and 4. So then we just chain 4. Get some more yarn. Then we're going to do a slip stitch in our second stitch from hook. So our second stitch from hook, again we don't count the loop on our hook. There's our first, there's our second. So I'm just going to put my hook in there, that second chain from hook, and do a little slip stitch like so, which might seem a little bit unusual. But then what we're going to do is we're going to do 1 single crochet in the next chain. So in the next chain we're going to do a single crochet, and then in that last chain we're going to do a double crochet. Okay, so do a double crochet like so. So you've almost got this like little triangle effect hanging off the end. Then what we're going to do, we're going to do a slip stitch in the next 3 stitches back on the main leaf. So find your next stitch on the main leaf. That was the last one we slip stitched into, so we go into the next one and do a slip stitch in there, then a slip stitch in the next one, and then a slip stitch in the next one. So you've done a slip stitch in the next 3. Okay, there you can see your little point appearing. Then what we're going to do is we're just basically going to repeat that same technique all the way around to the last 2 stitches. So we're going to chain 4 again, 1, 2, 3 and 4. Then we do our slip stitch in our second stitch from hook. So there's our first, there's our second, don't count the loop on our hook. Do a slip stitch in there, and then we do a, what was it, we do a single crochet in the next chain, and then we do a double crochet in that last chain. Okay, and then we do a slip stitch in the next 3 back on the main leaf. So find that next stitch, do a slip stitch in the next 3, so 1, 2 and 3. So let's just continue this round, repeating that all the way to the last 2 stitches. Let's chain 4 again, slip stitch in the second stitch from hook, then a single crochet, then a double crochet, and then slip stitch in the next 3 on the main leaf. 1, 2 and 3, and chain 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there we go. I'll just carry this round to the last 2 stitches, and perhaps I'll put a little bit of relaxing music in the background whilst I do it. And just repeating it. So I've just finished the last triangle and I've reached the last couple of stitches there, and we're just going to finish up with slip stitches in those last 2. So I'm just going to slip stitch in the last 2. And then what we're going to do is we're just going to do another slip stitch to join the round. So you just want to do a slip stitch in the top as well. So effectively you're just doing 3 slip stitches again. And there we go. So we get it to the very top and it joins the round. Then we're going to add a little stalk stem on the end. And to do that we're going to chain 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so chain 7. Then we're going to do a slip stitch in our second stitch from hook. So there's our first, there's our second, don't count the loop on your hook. Do a little slip stitch in there, and then we're going to do a slip stitch in each stitch along back to the main leaf. So we're just going to slip stitch along. Really. This should be 6 slip stitches in total. 4, 5, and the last one 6. And then all we need to do is I'm just going to slip stitch into that same end slip stitch that we finished our main leaf on. Just slip stitch back on the main leaf just to join, and then we fasten off. So cut the yarn, and there we go, there is our finished holly leaf. So all we need to do now is to tie in our tails, and let's get the yarn needle and do that quickly, and then we can work on the little red berries. So I'm just going to sew that to the back of the leaf, and if that tail out the way, just sew that down, and then trim the excess. And I can trim the excess off the beginning as well, because I worked that into our stitches. But you might want to sew that in if you want to. So there we go, there's our finished holly leaf. And now we're going to move on to the berries, and the berries are quite simple. I know I always say that. Let's put our little leaf down. So taking our red yarn, what we're going to do, we're using the same hook size as well. We're basically going to work like a little cluster of stitches. So the first thing to do is to chain 2. So we're going to chain 2. 1 and 2, so there's 2 chains, and into that first chain we're going to do 5 double crochets. So we yarn over, go into that first chain and do 5 double crochets in there. So oops, that's a half double crochet. Double crochets, so there's 1, go back into the first chain again, do another one, 2, first chain again, 3, first chain again, 4, first chain again, 5. So you've done 5 double crochets in that first chain. Okay, and then again, that's all we do. So we're going to just fasten off, leave a little bit for sewing. You can make more of these if you want to, just pull your yarn through. And we're going to take our yarn needle and we're just going to sew over to the other side, just to pull in our little berry, and then we can just pop him inside out. Pull that nice and tight, and there we go, there's our little berry cluster. And then all that's left to do is to sew that onto, I'll just sew this quickly, so one tail end and then sew the other tail end through as well. Into the leaf, and then we can just tie this on the back nice and tight, like so, and just pop a little cluster out, and there we go, we got a little berry. And you might want to add more than one and have a couple of berries, 2 or 3 berries on there, but there we go. And then you can just hide your tail ends, tuck those in and cut those, trim those down. So there we go, there's a little quick holly leaf and berry which you can add to gift wrap if you want to for Christmas, or you could make lots and lots of these and put them on a holly wreath if you wanted to. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed that tutorial. Hope you managed to follow along, as I always say. Thanks for watching, guys. I really appreciate your support and your comments. I read every single one and I try and reply to as many as I can. I've actually found an easier way to reply to the comments now without having to go into each video. So I do get notifications through my email when they come in. And but now I've found a way of finding them all in one list, so hopefully I can reply to as many as I can. But I shall see you soon for some more crochet fun. Cheers for watching, guys. Bye.